All right, welcome to this video. We're going to go over how to set up the Unity project and how to have it as a backup so we can duplicate from there to make new projects, and basically how to go through the whole setup for it. That way you can easily duplicate your projects for game jams or duplicate them for working in Unity or creating your own game. Anything like that. It'll just make the process simpler for you. And also, it'll show you how to go about downloading it when there's a new version. So like if there's new features to the game jam template, you'll just do the same thing that you would do in this video to download and set up the base project file. So the first step is we go to number 1 right here and we select game jam template. You want to download it here, not here. If you download all, it's going to create 2 zip folders like stacked inside each other, which you'll have to unzip and then unzip again to, or you'll have to like extract it a certain way to make it unzip the folder properly. If you just do it here, it'll zip it once, and that's what we're going to do. So you click download, and once you click that, it's going to scan for viruses. I don't have any reason to give you any viruses. I just like teaching people how to make games. So again, you just click download anyway. It's not going to be anything crazy. It's literally just project file with all my assets, but it's going to have 200, currently I think it's 283 megs. It contains the whole project file. It'll probably even grow from there because I'm going to probably be adding CCO assets or non-copyright assets for textures and things like that to add to the template. But until then, that's where it's at right now. One other thing to go over right here is that if you're having any sort of issue downloading it because of your network admin or anything like that, you can try to use Microsoft Edge if you're in Chrome having that issue. You can also use a VPN to get around that if you need to. That's up to you and what you're dealing with. But just know that you can do that to get around the download issues that some people, I guess, have encountered. So again, that's if you're in Chrome having an issue, try using Microsoft Edge. Maybe you'll get around it that way. And if you can't do it that way, try to use a VPN. Now that we've got it downloaded, we can get rid of this. So we're going to go ahead and go to our download folder. So we've got our download folder right here. And if we create a folder on the desktop and we called it Unity Projects, I have to name mine a little different because I already have a folder like that. So I'm going to just call it Projects with a Z. And we open this folder. We can then take this, double click it to open, and double click it again. This is what we need, and this is the folder we need. We don't need the top level folder, the zip folder. So we double click into it, take this folder and drag it into our Unity Projects folder, and it's going to unzip and copy it over there. And we'll just wait for this to do its thing. All right, as you can see, we finished downloading. And I just want to say real quick, if for some reason you're working with a teacher who's using this, hopefully your teacher can download the file for you if for some reason like a school is blocking you. And that way they can then copy it onto like a USB drive and then give you the file, and they could do that for their class. So if you're a teacher or a student, that's one way to do it as well. So you could figure out a way to download it and then put it on a USB drive and then copy it over to the PCs as needed. Now that we got it downloaded though, we no longer need to look at our downloads folder. We can go ahead and click on our Unity projects. So if we were to close this, we can go into your Unity projects, and here you have your game jam template. You can copy this, Control-C, Control-V, and it'll duplicate it over. And we want to have this base file, our game jam template. We want to leave that alone so that we don't have to download it again. But now we can just copy it and paste it inside here. And what will happen is it'll just make a duplicate of the project. So once it's done copying, I'll go ahead and explain the rest. All right, now that we have our game jam template copied over, we can go ahead and right click this folder below. We don't want to change this one. That way we don't have to re-download it unless for some reason I update it, which I do update it, and then you copy it the internal folders, or you can copy and replace this one here. But you want to make copies to start new projects or new games. So here you'll right click and say rename. I'll call it project 001. I personally don't use weird names or characters or long names or anything like that. I try to stick to shorter, simple names, simple, descriptive, but not like anything complex. So Project 01, or if I had a game name that was a short name, I would use that. Once you have your folder set up like this with a new name, you can double click it to open it. Double click Assets, double click Master Game Assets, and then you can click or double click to open Scenes. And right here you have Base Scene or Testing Scene. We're going to go ahead and right click Base Scene and say Send to Desktop right here. And what that's going to do is it's going to create a new shortcut on our desktop. Yours might look a little different than mine. This is just because it doesn't know which icon to give my Unity, because I have multiple versions of Unity. So either way, you should have this or something like this, or have your Unity icon right here. But you'll right click on it and say rename. Give it the same name that you gave your folder or your project that you copied. So your project file name or whatever your game name is going to be, give it the same name as that. Hit enter. And now you have this new shortcut. The reason we did this was so that we didn't have to climb through all of that again. So if I was in my Unity projects, I wouldn't have to do all this that I'm doing right now again to reopen my project. Now I can go ahead and close this, and you'll see I have these two the folder and the icon. Usually I put them on the right side of my screen just so they're distinctly away from what's normally on the left. But wherever you put them, just be aware of where they are so that you can easily access them. And then on this, I'm going to have to right click and tell it to open with a certain version. The version I designed this on was 2022.3.33F1, but it works on other versions that are newer than this. So I'm just going to click this to open it. And once it starts to open, it'll look something like this. Now, if you haven't opened a Unity project before, it does take a little bit of time to open the first time. So you're going to have to give it a minute while it does this. So once it opens, this is how it looks normally. It might look a little different based on versions, but this is generally how Unity looks. You have your menus up top, your hierarchy. This is a list of assets that are in the scene, inspector, and your project folder down below. Your playtest for your game is right here. You click the game or you just click play, but if you have to click play either way to test it, so you can't just click the game tab to test. But this is your game view, so what's live and current in your game. And you'll notice I can't actually move around. So this is why we have this game jam template, because when you first open Unity, you're not really able to do anything in the sense of testing or rapid game development. This is why I wanted to create this asset to help other people learn Unity and jump right in. If you open up the assets on the left over here, you'll see that we have our master game assets. And if you go into scenes, double click that and you'll open up the scenes. In here, you can click testing. You can scale it up on the right over here if you can't read it. But base scene is what we're in. It says it right here at the top up here. If you want to open up testing scene, you'll see the more ready to go scene that I'm developing. In here, there's lots of stuff you can use. Check out the other videos on it. But yeah, this is the Game Jam template, and the purpose of this is to get you into Unity and be able to move around it, test things out, start learning how to vibe code, start learning how to build games, and becoming your own creator. And yeah, you should already, just by hitting play now, unlike the default scene, you should be able to come in here and start building out assets, creating assets, using different things that are already built in here. And if you follow along with the tutorials, you'll be able to start creating games and vibe coding and building your own experiences and things like that. I'm not going to ask for anything from it. Hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to check it out, test things out. I'm constantly working on it and updating it. So if there's new versions of it, I'll let you know. And then you can download it and use that version for more assets and things that you can use in the world, like doors that reopen the level, moving platforms, physics objects, bounce pads, teleporters. You have objects here that you can pick up, all that. So yeah, just check it out, mess with it, start creating levels, and then from there we'll jump into some vibe coding maybe. I don't know, I got a lot of ideas coming this way for this asset, and hope you enjoyed the video, and hopefully it was easy to follow along with how and why to set up things the way I do. Just wanted to add a side note I forgot to mention. Last thing I wanted to add in was when you playtest, so if you're in the game and you click play to playtest, right? You Once you open your testing scene and you click play to playtest, you'll be able to walk around. This is just using WASD, common movement control on PC, and then your mouse to look around. So just so you can begin playtesting and messing around, that is how you do that. If you want more information on things and how to set up other things and create levels, experiences, worlds, things like that, then feel free to follow along on my channel and hopefully I'll see something you make. All right, later.